Okay, so today we are going to like really dive deep into this one very specific, fascinating period in John James Audubon's life.
Yeah.
And we're talking about his 1833 expedition to Labrador.
Yeah.
We're going to be using Katherine Govier's historical novel, it's called Creation,
All right.
as our guide for this. And
It's a great book.
yeah, it's a really, really great source because it kind of blends fact and fiction together to
Yeah.
give us this really unique look at
Yes,
Audubon and his work.
It does. Yeah. It's a side of Audubon that you don't really see that often.
Yeah,
I mean, when you think about Audubon, everybody thinks about those huge, beautiful bird paintings, right?
of course, yeah.
But this expedition
Yeah.
to Labrador really reveals a lot about him, like as a person.
Yeah.
His drive, his ambition, the lengths that he would go to capture the natural world
Yeah.
on canvas.
Yeah, so we're talking about the rugged Labrador coast. This is like the 1830s.
Right. Right.
Not exactly an easy place to be.
Yeah.
Govier doesn't really sugarcoat the challenges that Audubon faced.
No, not at all.
I mean, Labrador back then,
Yeah.
it was just brutal.
Yeah.
It was harsh. It was unforgiving.
Yeah.
But, for Audubon, it was gold mine.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was obsessed with, documenting all these different bird species.
Yeah.
And Labrador, it was teeming with life that he'd never seen before.
And this is where Govier's book, I think, gets really interesting
Yes.
because, she doesn't just present Audubon as this, hero. She
Right.
kind of digs into this,
She doesn't bear.
right, he had this deep love for nature, but he was also willing to kill birds in order to paint them.
Yeah, that's right.
And that tension, I think, is really at the core
Yeah,
of her story.
it really makes you think.
Yeah.
It makes you think about the ethics of it all.
Oh, yeah.
Observing nature, how we interact with nature.
Yeah.
I mean, Audubon really wanted to preserve these birds, through his art.
Yeah. But that preservation came at a cost.
Yeah.
And that's something that we're still dealing with today.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when you think about conservation,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
the choices that we make.
And Govier brings this all to life. She has these, really vivid descriptions
Oh, yeah.
of Labrador.
Beautiful.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
When you're reading it, you can practically, feel that icy wind
Yes.
and hear those birds crying out.
You're right there.
Yeah.
It's more than just, the setting for the story.
Yeah.
The environment itself really becomes a character.
Yeah.
It shapes Audubon's experiences.
Absolutely.
It challenges him at
Yeah.
every turn.
It's like pushing back on him.
Yes.
But it's not all just, birds and landscapes, right?
Right.
Govier also explores, the human side of this expedition.
Oh, absolutely.
Audubon's relationships with his companions,
Yes.
the tension that he has with his family,
Yeah.
this constant desire
Yeah.
that he has to leave some kind of legacy.
To make his mark on the world.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It adds a whole other layer to the story.
It does. It does.
I mean, I was really struck by...
And it reminds us
Right.
that Audubon wasn't just some, solitary figure out there in the wilderness just painting.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a man
a real
with relationships and ambitions and flaws.
Yeah.
And Govier doesn't shy away from any of that.
Yeah. No, she doesn't.
So really digs in.
And she handles the pacing so well, I thought.
Yeah.
It's a historical novel.
Right.
But it never feels bogged down in the facts or details.
Right.
It just moves.
Keeps you turning the pages.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
I'm curious, were there any scenes or details?
Oh, tons.
Yeah, that really stood out to you.
Well, there's this one scene where Audubon is trying to capture the movement of a certain bird in flight.
Yeah.
And he just cannot get it right.
Oh, wow.
And he gets so frustrated, and it really shows you how hard it was to do what he was doing, Especially back then. I mean, this is way before photography.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So, you had to really observe everything so carefully and then, recreate it all by hand.
Wow.
It's a great example of how Govier brings that, the historical context to life.
Yeah. That's so fascinating, because it's easy to forget how much effort really went into documenting nature back then.
It really is.
And it makes, his work even more impressive, I think.
It does. It does. And it ties back to that central question we were talking about,
Yeah.
This whole balance between appreciating nature and exploiting it.
Yeah.
Audubon, I mean, his dedication was incredible.
Yes.
But it came with a price.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it sounds like we've got this really, ambitious and complex character.
Very complex.
In Audubon. He's pushing himself to the limits in this really harsh but beautiful landscape.
Yes.
Driven by this passion for the natural world, but also this desire to create something that will last.
To be remembered.
Yeah, and Govier, she weaves all of that together into this really captivating story.
She really does, and she leaves us with some really interesting questions, I think.
Oh, like what?
I mean, how should we be interacting with nature?
Yeah.
Can we appreciate its beauty without destroying it?
Yeah.
I mean, these are questions that Audubon was dealing with in the 1830s, and we're still asking those same questions today.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely food for thought.
Yeah.
For anyone who's wanting to dive deeper
Yeah.
into Audubon's world
Yeah.
and explore these questions a little bit further, I highly recommend checking out Govier's book, Creation.
Good read.
You won't be disappointed.
You won't.
It's a really great book.
That's it.
All right. Well, that's our show for today.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.